Welcome to Stu and the Nut, an online radio show and podcast focused on national security, policy, politics, and selfless service. We're here to give you an honest opinion, different perspective, and hopefully a few laughs. We do this by not only interviewing guests, but also sharing our own perspectives and asking you, the listener, to interact with us in the show chat room, via our Facebook page, on Twitter. We would like to thank those who make this show possible and allow us to bring it to you. Our show's Enlisted 9 Fight Company, BooHammer.com, and Warrior Media Solutions. Those are your sponsors. And yes, that means we have not re-recorded our intros yet. So you get the hybrid, pre-recorded, and live intro. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Stu and the Nunn, episode 107. And I'm one of your hosts, Stu. And joined with me tonight on my side there is the Nunn.
What's up, my brother from another motherland? I'm in Texas right now, and it feels like I might be in Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, a little chilly down there?
We've had winter 6 days this year.
Yeah?
6 days.
That's
ridiculous. Days of non-motorcycle riding weather.
Yeah, I guess it's a little odd for this time of year, huh? You're usually out there with the wind in your hair and the sun on your skin and just cruising all over in that fine machine that you call a motorcycle.
I'm getting pasty and white. It's ridiculous.
Looking like me. What's up with that?
Yeah, no. Oh, you're a good-looking guy, so.
Why, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And so are you. I feel like the two squirrels on the chipmunks, or I guess the chipmunks on the chipmunks, always after you, my friend. After you. Yes. Yeah. So, well, welcome, Toby. You are in the southern studio, as you said, which feels like the northern studio. And right now, I can tell you here in the northern studio is 18 degrees with snow. So you're not quite as bad as we are. I don't know if that makes you feel any warmer or not, but it is definitely you're on the toastier side than we are.
Well, I put on some flannel today and kicked up the fire, and we had an amazing pot of chili. So it's like officially winter.
Yeah.
But I'm warm.
There you go. Hey, would you mind cranking up the Spreaker? Could you get that going? If you hadn't,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't remember if I had mentioned that or not beforehand. We dealing with a couple technical issues here, and I think we're up and running okay. I don't see anyone in our oh, here we do. We got some comments here. How come I'm not seeing those? There we go. My comments weren't even refreshing. But wow, I see a Miss Jessica Woods Nunn joining, taking a little bandwidth, but enjoying the show at the same time. That's what I'm talking about.
Yes. The bandwidth is getting sucked up by my wife watching in the other room.
That's okay. I think I heard it.
We're kidding.
Yes, keep enjoying. We enjoy every viewer we can. We'll take any stat we can. Yeah, last week we finished the show and my son was up in his room and as soon as we hung up, he sent me a note, said, "Great show, Dad." And I'm like, "What?" And he was watching on Twitch on his phone. He was watching on Twitch TV and he watched like the last half of our show, which I thought was pretty cool. And but Toby, we got great compliments. I don't know if you know or not from some of our long-term fans and listeners and viewers that the video and audio last week was dynamite. They're top of the charts. So I hope it stays that way this week. But I attribute it to your increase in bandwidth that you have in the team's South studio there. That's what
we stepped up our game here, which is code word for like our community improved its system. So like, we're reaping the rewards of other people's hard work.
Yep, which allows other people to now use bandwidth in your house, and you don't have to shut down the entire block from using the internet.
I don't have to threaten my neighbors' lives anymore.
Exactly. Send squirrels up in their roofs or whatever. Anyways.
The raccoons.
Oh, raccoons. That's what it was. But, yeah, so we got a few listeners in there, a couple regulars and some new ones, and glad to see everyone tuning in tonight. We didn't get a blog post out today. Toby and I were both feverishly working on guests for tonight. Neither one were able to pan out in time. It's a lot to ask someone if they, people just got busy lives, right? We all do, you do, which is why we appreciate you guys being on.
You know, I actually wasn't even going to be on the air tonight. Doug Mullins was going to pinch it for me tonight because I was going to be off on a veteran outdoors hunt. However, due to the inclement weather that we're experiencing in Texas, that hunt got canceled. So I am now back on the air. You're welcome, everybody. For being back. Sorry, Doug, for giving you the opportunity to be live and speak your mind on the air, and then chopping you off at the ankles.
I offered to him to come on, and he said he would just tune in from the from what we call the Western Southern Studio, and since he's a little bit west of you, and he said he'd tune in, but he would jump on if we needed him. But we appreciate Doug stepping in there when we need him. He's been he's helped us out many times, and was in fact our first guest. So we can't overlook that. But yeah, appreciate you. Great you could be on tonight, Toby. Sad your trip didn't work out, but glad it was able to work out. So yeah, we didn't get a post up today. We would have liked to, but again, we were working, around work, the day job, trying to get the guest at the same time. And so we got a lot of topics to talk about, though, tonight, Toby. I would say it's been a pretty busy last few days, especially today in the news. And, I think we may have a couple mad minutes here, to borrow a term from another show. We called it Bald Man Rants, but I think you can call it whatever you want. But I think there's no shortage of us to share our opinions on.
Oh, like the there's actually some really good stuff. The first and foremost, people are mad about honesty, and then when people get mad about honesty and they create outrage about honesty, and then they find out that it didn't actually happen, and then the truth comes out about what was said or not said, and it's funny. It's like no matter what, people won't be happy. And I think it's interesting, and people are losing their minds. And I think I just witnessed something, a video of something, which is just demonstrates how divided we are about certain things.
Yeah, when you speak of honesty and not wanting honesty, is there anything particular you're talking of? I'm sure there is. I mean, is there a topic that?
Yeah, no, like sorry about the cough, but no, I guess we'll just jump on into it. So earlier this week, in a meeting that had some lawmakers in it with the President of the United States, in reference to the DACA Dreamers Act that they're trying to get pushed through, and there's a lot of stipulations and a lot of groundswell on what should be attached to it, what shouldn't be attached to it, and that's a lot of what we're going to talk about tonight. The government shutdown being attached to it, the wall being attached to it, a lot of different things being attached to this DACA Act. But the president was quoted by someone in the meeting as saying that some of the people that don't apply to DACA and some of the people in DACA are from shithole countries. And the funny thing is I heard the comment and I didn't even bat an eyelash. I mean, it didn't offend me in any way, didn't bother me in any way. As a guy that's traveled a little bit around the world, I've been to some shithole countries. I've been to some shithole towns in America, shithole counties, shithole states. And I think that's an accurate assessment of, or a person's opinion on how to do it. So it didn't bother me in the least that a corrupt country filled with crime, that lacks infrastructure and proper governance is being referred to as a shithole. It's not a destination I would go to.
I haven't seen any vacation packages for those areas. Yeah.
It's funny. the country right next door to Haiti, the Dominican Republic, has a ton of tourism, some really great packages. Some friends of our family, just went on a trip there, and they said they had the best time ever, and they loved it. They felt like they got good value for their dollar. They felt like they saw a beautiful part of the country. It was actually their first international trip outside of military service, and absolutely enjoyed going to the Dominican Republic. But they didn't choose Haiti.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's because that's not an option.
I can't say he's been a big demand there. I don't know. I've never seen it on the list of port calls for Carnival or Royal Caribbean. Just saying.
Yeah, I don't. Was it Port-au-Prince? It's not on there, right?
No.
I mean, Jamaica makes the list,
and that's
some
pretty.
People will say
that's pretty sketchy. Yeah, that's pretty sketchy in itself. Exactly.
Outside the resorts, it's a little sketch.
Yeah.
No, and it's like Somalia. I've had a hard time racking my brain of meeting anybody that has gone out of their way to say, man, I really wish I could go to Somalia on vacation. Haven't heard that. Although every third taxi driver that I had in Washington, D.C. was from Somalia and seemed to be pretty excited to be driving a taxi in our country.
Yes. Yep. I think that's a key thing, right? There's, there's been a lot of talk about this the last few days, and I put up a couple of videos on my Facebook and stuff and things about it. And some people are doing some just great speaking about it. And one key one is those people are all trying to come here because they know that place is a shithole. It's their country, right? This isn't, they're trying to rush to this area because that's where they want to be. I mean, it is what it is, right? There's, and if I could just expand on this topic a little bit with you, Toby, and our listeners, there's a couple of key things around this whole event that happened. Number one, now we're getting a lot of disputes about what was really said. And two people have saying they heard it, and Dick Durbin, who's a Democrat who can't stand the president, and Lindsey Graham, who is a closet Democrat along with John McCain and shouldn't even be calling himself a Republican, can't stand the president, got beat by the president. And nobody else heard it said that way. The president did say it's some rough language, but you're not the president by being kind and touchy feely, right? So so that's number one. Number two, there was a lot more than African countries in Haiti, and if people did some research or they heard from other sources besides the big main news media, he mentioned El Salvador, Nicaragua, most of Central America, and Africa. Now I've been all the way down through Central America. I used to live in Panama, been all the way down every country in Central America, and it was a long time ago, but they were shitholes back then, in the 70s. I'm sure they're worse now because you can't even drive through them. So, but the media doesn't portray that. They portray the two areas that are mostly with black populations, Haiti and Africa. They didn't mention all the Central American countries because that doesn't fit the narrative. So that's the second point I want to bring up, and how much spin is on this and how much BS is about this, because they only wanted to mention the ones that they did. Number three, they keep bringing up Norway because the president said like Norway. And what he meant by like, of course, the media took that and spun that to be based on race. Well, Norway's white, or is mostly white. And of course, because they only mentioned Africa and
Did he just come back to Norway? Wasn't he just like...
No, he met the day before with the Norwegian prime minister. Yeah, the next day before was visiting him. So, of course, Norway's fresh on his mind. But if you look, there's some stats some people put out. If you look at the GDP for Haiti, for an individual in Haiti is like $790. The GDP for someone in Norway is $70,000. The crime, the per capita murders per capita per 100,000 people in Haiti is like 298 per 100,000. In Norway, it's like 0.07 or 0.05 or something like that. There's a reason, right?
Like that's the murder came wrong in Haiti, man.
Right. So, that's why he's called a shithole. He's only saying what people know, what everyone realizes, because no one's taking vacations there, right? So everyone knows it's that. All these people in the media and all these people in Hollywood that are having meltdowns, Jim Carrey and all that, can easily run down there and help out. I mean, the only people I ever saw go to Haiti were the Clintons, and apparently that was for ulterior motives. But
Yeah. Apparently, they robbed them blind.
right, and there's been a lot of people that were during the election from Haiti were protesting the Clintons because of what they did to Haiti. But I mean, so it wasn't
Like
portrayed. The media spun it to.
Or something, right?
Yeah, exactly. The media spun it to the countries they wanted to support their narrative. What was actually said is now in discrepancy, and the reality, he just said what everyone want to hear. And I've been in talks with several of my friends that are liberal and stuff, and we've kind of went back and forth a little bit about it. But I've been like, well, he needs to be more politically correct on it. We didn't hire someone to be politically correct. That's why he's President Trump.
This is a meeting in his office, and this is like, so this is why I don't have an issue with it. Like, one, I don't have a problem with the descriptive nature of the terminology, and like, whoever shows up at my door right now to argue that with me, I'm not going to change my opinion. I don't have a problem with the vernacular at all. If it was in a State of the Union address to Congress, yeah, I would say it's a little unpro. You could probably use a little better verbiage and call them like, corrupt third world nations, with little or no hope, and it's understandable why people are leaving.
Right.
But he didn't. He said this was in a meeting
in his office. Yeah.
In his office, in his space, and like, I think the expectation of the president, regardless of who he is or who she is, or is that when they're conducting business, they're doing it in accordance to their belief structure and in accordance to what they know and understand to be factually accurate. And if the dude gets mad and says shit, I don't have an issue with it. I've heard a lot worse terminology. Let's listen to some of the tapes with guys dropping F-bombs, and me, like, we're arguing over, someone's opinion of something. One, it's a measurable opinion. And
yeah, there's facts to back it up. It wasn't just he was being slanderous, right?
Yeah. And I even gotten, a little Twitter thing with my brother, like, because we're joking, because the Isle of Man's top 10 and Canada's number 30. Haiti's 309. It's like, so shout out to, Dr. Mike Simpson for posting that, that measurement up on Twitter. But, we're arguing about what a guy said behind closed doors. Which also hasn't been validated that he actually said it. Which brings up my second point is now you have a member of Congress, Senator Booker, chastising a cabinet member and just going after her. And I didn't realize, like, in this day and age, you were allowed to talk to anybody like that, let alone a man talk to a woman like that. So thanks for mansplaining that, Senator Booker. And, like, so you can just bully people, you can chastise them, you can say those kinds of things.
He's auditioning for his. He's auditioning for.
Don't even know.
Yeah, he's auditioning for 2020 run. Right. He's auditioning. He wants to be on the DNC stage. That's all he's doing, right?
And that is what brings me to the point of we are in such a position where we just have to argue, we just have to fight so badly that it doesn't matter what the facts are, what the truth is, because it could be your truth. As I learned from Oprah the other day, and you can just hate for the purpose of hate. Like, and we got a great military movie apparently coming out. The story of the horse soldiers in Afghanistan. That we're kind of excited to see. I just had the opportunity to watch Legion of Brothers. Jason Amarine's been on the show, and supposed to be coming back on here shortly. And the thing is, you got this Hollywood actor in that movie that's saying anyone that voted for Trump needs to needs to die, needs to be killed, and like that's not positive debate. That's not professional.
That's not coexisting. That's
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 not coexisting at all.
that that is that is not in keeping with what our forefathers put into the Bill of Rights. I mean, you have the right to your own opinion. You have the right to freedom of speech. You have the freedom of press. You have the freedom of religion. And the freedom of speech is does protect hate speech. It does protect people's vile you know views on certain things, and being able to print them, being able to speak them. But like going after someone because they voted for someone, saying that they deserve to die, you know, that's a little strong. Like that demonstrates how far gone one side is. On the same note, the opposite side is just as gone. Like we shouldn't be like telling each other. And someone sent me it the other day, and I need to try and pull it up. And it was a speech that Marco Rubio gave on the floor of the House. Um, sorry, on the floor of the Senate, about 6 months ago, talking about tolerance, and like saying, hey, we should be able to have discourse. Every civilized country in the world, the leaders can stand together and have discourse. But now we're at a point where we can't have discourse. We got to tell each other, that we're going to kill each other. We're going to throw a rock. I mean, like, and
Right.
that's the thing with this Booker guy. This guy's supposed to be a leader, yet he's like talking the way he's talking over something that he doesn't even know happened. He
Right.
wasn't in that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Like I say, he's on the main stage. Kamala Harris there, the young freshman congresswoman from California, is getting all the limelight to try to be maybe the next candidate, and it's just a matter of everyone's got to make their get their spot, and it's that's the kind of stuff that people are upset with. That's the kind of stuff why why Bernie Sanders almost made it, and why President, and probably would have if Hillary had not sabotaged his campaign via the DNC, and why President Trump did, because they're sick and tired of that. They're sick and tired of the bipartisan politics and also the government shutdown. The other day we talked about it last week, I believe, right? The other day, last week, the president had a meeting, unprecedented. Let the reporters in for 45 minutes while they negotiated. Talked about DACA. Had Dick Durbin right next to him. Had Nancy Pelosi there. Showed great leadership as a president, reaching out, and it wasn't just grandstanding. They were arguing with him. He was going back and forth, and he pretty much owned it. And he demanded the respect in the room and got it. And that was their chance to. We talked to Dave about it, when we had him on. That was their chance to say something. That was their chance to show that they were really going to stand up to the president. Yet they all waited until they got out of the room, got back in front of the cameras, and then started talking smack. And now it's went from, wow, they may actually work something out to there's no way that the DACA deal is probably not going to happen. And now we're talking about a government shutdown. It's probably going to happen the 19th. Because in just 1 week, it went from he's mentally unstable to he's racist, and then today, and we'll talk about it here in a little bit, to they tried to find everything they could find to find him medically unfit, with the doctor who gave him probably the most glowing health check and findings that he's probably ever given, that I know I've ever heard about any public official ever getting. It's like, just be objective, just report the news and quit trying to spin something one way or another. That's what the people are sick and tired of. That's why Congress has such a low approval rating. It's because of crap like that.
Well, that's the funny thing. It's like, approval ratings. Everyone's like, oh, well, President Trump has these horrible approval ratings. In comparison to what?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, even today on the health check, when the guy's 71 years old, says he's a heart of a champ, only sleeps 4 or 5 hours a night, is great health because of great genes. Even said that if he ate right and took care of himself better, he'd probably live to be 200 years old. He's got such great health. Man, it burned those journalists up. Yet at the end, they still had to ask about, well, why isn't he's not as good a health as Barack Obama was. It was like, what? Like, what are you talking about? I mean, this guy's never smoked or drank in his life. Granted, he eats some fast food every once in a while. Or even if it was I mean, he may be a billionaire, but he eats McDonald's like everyone else, like every other,
Yeah.
Joe and Sally does, and drinks Diet Cokes and does whatever. And they still try to compare it. Well, he didn't have as good as health as President Obama. It's like, what?
But that's irrelevant.
Yeah.
Like that's the part that like cracks me up about all of this is every time they bring something up, it's absolutely irrelevant to what it's like, oh well, what about what about his health? He said this, so he must be mentally unstable. Like clearly he's not.
Right.
Like
and he told
well,
he told his doc, you tell him everything. I mean, he was out there for 50 minutes. He said, you don't hold anything back. You tell him everything. I mean, I was even kind of surprised how much there was nothing hidden, it seemed like.
How many other people would have done that?
Yeah. I mean, he could easily said, because of HIPAA, no, it's my personal private information. No, just tell him it was a good health check.
I would do that. I don't think I would give carte blanche.
Right.
To put my medical history out there. And I have nothing, you know what I mean? But it's just like that level of vulnerability. And it's like I said, it's irrelevant. Is he physically capable enough to do the job? Yeah.
Yeah. They even brought up the 25th Amendment. They brought up, it's a weird noise. I got some weird audio. Can you hear me okay, Toby?
Audio just went bad on you.
Yeah, it's went bad. I'll let you talk. You go ahead, Toby. You. Can you hear me? Oh, you talk.
Garbled. It's all garbled. The no, it's I always find it interesting that one the level of scrutiny, the level of invasive scrutiny that seems to be having and this I think I as much as I hate admitting that he's right, I think I'm going to go ahead and say, like, I don't think any president's ever met the level of scrutiny that he's faced. And on top of it, like, I'm going to look back and I'm just going to start picking at presidents in the past and say, like, there's no way that those presidents would have survived that level of scrutiny. Look at Nixon. I mean, Nixon resigned and he didn't face a fraction of what Trump's had to face in this past year. And, Nixon had a lifetime of politics, to get picked on. There's no way that, America's sweetheart JFK could have survived the scrutiny. There's absolutely no way.
Oh, JFK's
JFK.
Oh man, I sound like terrible. Why do I hear myself?
Yeah. No, there's absolutely no way that JFK could have survived the however many female scandals that he had. There's no way that he could have got away with gallivanting and going out clubbing and picking up chicks and bringing them back to wherever he was at with Twitter and people with cell phones and stuff like that. That never could have happened. The press absolutely would have like annihilated him instead of writing love poems to him. The Abraham Lincoln, you can go back, the presidents would not have survived the scrutiny that he's facing. And it just shows that they are willing to look at anything. They're willing to pick apart his health. They're willing to attack his family. They're willing to say whatever. And the go-to is now if he says something that they don't like, no matter how true it might be, well, he's racist. Like right. Like people are from shithole countries. If he said that, which I've, for the record, I don't have a problem with him saying it in a meeting. I'm sure I've said much worse. And yeah, I don't think I'm a bad person. And you know, they just people are just angry to be angry, and trying to find something. And it's like, get over it. At some point in time, like, get over it.
Right. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I'm hearing myself in my headphones.
I'm hearing myself in my head.
Kind of throwing me off here.
Kind of throwing me off.
I got. Can you hear me okay?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you're a lot better than you were. But I mean, I mean, on the 19th, so that is the 16th. So are we talking 3 days? They're going to shut the government down in 3 days? 3 days.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
That's what we're talking about.
That's the word on the street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta take my headphones off. I can't handle hearing myself when I talk. I'll just have to put it back on when you talk. Let me know if I don't sound good though. I don't know what happened there. We just had audio just went to crap there. Audio went to shithole right in the middle of our show.
Bush League.
Yeah, it was doing good. That's what we get. We jinxed ourselves after having such a good show last week. But no, it was it's just again partisan politics. Even on a guy that has a good physical. My God, he's the leader of the free world. He was elected by over half of the population, or half the population. The market in 12 days it jumped 1,000 points, set a record like it's never been done before, and they can't give me credit.
Of, like, public scrutiny, and that's the thing, is like, they have no problem scrutinizing him the way that they're doing. Is it okay for us to subject Bradley Manning, Chelsea Manning, to this level of scrutiny now that they've decided that they want to go and run for Senate? Okay, one, I didn't know that if you're a convicted felon, especially convicted for treason, you're allowed to run. Is that true?
I guess in the state of Maryland.
Like, no, I mean, that's for a Senate, right? So that's
right.
All right, we're gonna Google it really fast. Can a convicted, because they can't vote, right? Convicted felons can't vote, right?
I don't think, at least not while they're in prison. Maybe after they're out. I don't know. But at least not while they're in.
This could be a question on my citizenship test. So I want to know.
Right, that's a good one. But I mean, convicted of treason. You can't get many more worse of a crime against our own country. Man, my audio sounds terrible.
Maybe each state has its own rules regarding past convictions. As a rule, misdemeanor convictions may require little more than a statement of explanation.
But I would think it's not a misdemeanor.
In the U.S. federal law, Title 18 U.S. Code Section 922 provides that a person convicted of a felony may not possess a firearm. You can own one, but not possess one.
Hey, does this sound any better, Toby?
No, you're getting worse.
It sounds worse? Okay, I'm just switching microphones. I'm trying to do whatever I can.
Yes, a person convicted of a felony can run their obstacles, getting one's ballot in state.
Yeah.
There's at least one case of a former like F.H. Schumacher of Minnesota. Now there's
okay. I'm getting bad audio now from you. I don't know what's going on. Maybe I need to upgrade my internet. Toby, should I jump to music and see if
Yeah, go ahead.
On the beach, cherry blossom streets, don't know where to go, but I'm going somewhere.
That's not working. I don't know. We may have to call this one early tonight.
It sounds like we're on a turkey